Welcome, brave souls. Tonight you'll step into the shadows of a forgotten school, where whispers linger and shadows come alive. Beware, for the truth hidden in these halls is darker than you can imagine. Are you ready to confront the horrors that await?
It all began with an old weathered letter that I found in my mailbox, unsigned, inviting me to St. Margaret's Academy, long abandoned. As an urban explorer, curiosity was my curse, and this time it led me into darkness. The school stood in eerie silence, bathed in the dim light of a dying moon. Its windows were like empty eyes staring into my soul. The cold air sent a shiver down my spine as I pushed open the creaking gates. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of mildew and decay. Broken desks and forgotten books lay scattered, as if the students had fled in a hurry. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the echo of my footsteps. Suddenly, the distant sound of children laughing pierced the quiet. My heart pounded in my chest. It was impossible. No one had been here for decades. I followed the sound deeper into the building. I reached the main hallway where the laughter ceased. The corridor stretched endlessly, its flickering lights casting strange shadows. A faint whisper called my name from the end of the hall. I hesitated but moved forward, each step feeling heavier. The whisper grew louder, more insistent, as if urging me closer. The air grew colder, my breath visible in the dim light. At the end of the hall stood a door marked Principal's Office. The whispers stopped as I reached for the doorknob, the silence now deafening. Something was waiting behind that door. The door creaked open to reveal a room frozen in time. The principal's desk was covered in dust, papers scattered as if disturbed by an unseen force. The air was suffocating. A single photograph on the desk caught my eye. It was a class picture, but the faces were smudged and distorted, except for one. A young boy staring directly at me with hollow black eyes. Suddenly, the temperature dropped. The shadows in the room began to shift and dance. My flashlight flickered, and I heard the sound of footsteps approaching from behind. I spun around, but no one was there. The footsteps continued, now circling me. I clutched my flashlight tightly, feeling a presence closing in. The boy in the photograph seemed to be watching. The desk drawer creaked open on its own, revealing an old journal. Its pages were filled with desperate scribbles, detailing strange occurrences and vanishings at the school before its closure. One entry stood out. "He watches from the shadows. Do not let him catch you after dark." As I read those words, the laughter returned, now echoing all around me, sinister and mocking. The lights in the room went out completely. In the pitch darkness, I could feel someone or something standing inches away. A cold breath brushed against my neck, and a voice whispered, "You shouldn't be here." I bolted from the principal's office, my heart racing. The laughter followed me as I stumbled into an old classroom. The desks were neatly arranged, but every chair faced the back wall. I turned one of the desks around and froze. Written in blood-red letters on the blackboard were the words, "Class is in session." The air grew heavier, and the room felt alive with unseen energy. Suddenly, the classroom door slammed shut behind me. I ran to open it, but it wouldn't budge. The windows were blackened, trapping me inside. Then I heard the sound of chalk scraping against the board. I turned around to see a message appearing on the board, "Join us." The desks began to shake violently, their wooden frames groaning as if protesting my presence. The laughter turned to screams. I covered my ears, but the noise only grew louder. Shadows began to rise from the floor, taking on the forms of children, their hollow eyes fixed on me. One of the shadowy figures stepped forward, extending a hand. "Play with us," it whispered, its voice chilling and inhuman. The others began to chant, their voices echoing through the room. I backed into a corner, feeling the walls closing in. Just as the shadows reached for me, the door burst open on its own. I didn't hesitate. I ran as fast as I could, desperate to escape. I found myself back in the main hallway, but something was wrong. It seemed longer, stretching into infinity. The once flickering lights were now dead, replaced by an unnatural red glow. Each step echoed endlessly. The sound distorted as if the hallway itself was alive. The walls seemed to breathe, their surfaces pulsating with a sickening rhythm. I tried to turn back, but the way behind me had vanished. I was trapped in this endless corridor with no way out. The whispers returned, louder and more aggressive. "Turn around," they urged, their voices overlapping. I refused, pressing forward. Then I saw it. A figure at the end of the hall, standing perfectly still, watching me. As I got closer, the figure became clearer. It was the boy from the photograph, his hollow eyes now glowing red. He raised a hand and pointed behind me. I turned to see a wall of shadows rushing toward me, their faces twisted in anguish. They screamed my name, their hands outstretched, desperate to pull me into the darkness. I ran toward the boy, hoping he was the key to escape. But as I reached him, he simply smiled and said, "You're too late." The hallway collapsed into darkness, swallowing us both. I awoke in the middle of the schoolyard, gasping for air. The building stood silent and lifeless behind me, as if nothing had happened. But I knew it wasn't over. In my hand was the old journal from the principal's office, its pages now blank. The laughter still echoed faintly in my ears, a chilling reminder of what I had witnessed. I tried to leave the school grounds, but the gate was locked. No matter how hard I pulled, it wouldn't budge. I was still trapped, and the sun was beginning to set. As darkness fell, the school came alive once more. The windows lit up with an unnatural glow, and the whispers returned, louder and more menacing. I knew I had to find a way out before the final bell. The shadows began to rise again, their forms more twisted and horrifying than before. They surrounded me, blocking my path. The bell rang, its sound deafening and final. The shadows closed in, their cold hands gripping me tightly. I screamed, but no sound came out. The last thing I saw was the boy's face, his smile widening as he whispered, "Welcome to your new home." And then, everything went black.
The story may have ended, but nightmares have a way of clinging to you, following you into the dark. Tonight, when the shadows lengthen and you feel that creeping dread, remember, some nightmares don't end when you wake up. If this story left you uneasy and you crave more terror, hit the like and subscribe button. The real nightmare is only just beginning.